Welcome back to another post-game episode with the Bastards of Boston Baseball. No surprise here on Crochet Day. The Boston Red Sox win I can't even talk.
Pivotal.
Pivotal final game in the series. And I think I could say this for everybody, but are we shocked that we won the series? Because I am. Are we shocked that Trevor Story was probably the most impactful bat? I am. Are we shocked that Crochet won on Crochet Day? I'm not going to say I am because he should be winning every single appearance, especially when you go a career high 112 pitches and you struck out a dozen. Dude, this guy is absolutely insane. What are your takeaways, Jeremy? We'll have you go first, and then Terry, we'll have you go
Yeah,
second.
the way they were playing baseball, even the way they were playing when they won game one of the Braves series, I did not see them winning the series. To me, it's not relevant yet that it's Crochet Day that we're going to win because they don't win on Crochet Day. So the fact that they did today obviously took a monumental effort from Garrett Crochet. Um, Story being the key, bat for the series is shocking because I think every single person wanted a DFA out of that player. I was more of a fake DL guy idea, but get him off the big league club for 10 days and let him reset. And yet he comes in and he's a key contributor. Campbell made some nice plays today. He almost botched what should have been a surefire double play, but instead of panicking, he gathers himself and makes a really key out at second base. Caught the ball when Crochet was on a jam in first and third. That was a flare to right field. Abreu was not going to get there. I thought it was a surefire hit, and Campbell
Right.
makes an over-the-shoulder play that I didn't think he was going to make. So Devers with another rocket today in the first, kind of setting up that big wall ball double by Story. I don't know what to say about this team. Honestly, they beat what I think is going to be a good baseball team. They win the series. With all that said, it's great. I'm happy. It doesn't mean anything to me moving forward with this club until they can show consistency over like a 10-game period of time. So we'll certainly talk about the next series at the end, but spoiler alert, I don't think this series changes anything.
Yeah, one quick thing about Trevor's story because he's been getting absolutely destroyed by the pod and by everybody. I don't know if I didn't say DFA story. I think I probably would have been the same realm scope of the, fake DL him and have him reset because I've said this multiple times. I don't know how you tear the cover off the ball for an entire month and forget how to hit the following month or just struggle so badly that people want you gone. It just doesn't make any sense. Today was a great opportunity to see what Trevor Story can do when he like puts a perfect bat to the ball. He had a home run and 5 RBIs in the series. He's had a home run and 5 RBIs the whole month. So he doubled up his production for the month. I'm not saying that's great, but I'll say I think this is something to build towards because we're starting the month off with. See, technically, this is a new month because of the 1st of June, but great way to start the month off. I'm hoping this is like the month of April for him. And you're right, the Red Sox haven't won on Crochet Day, and it's absolutely necessary that we do because in order for us to stay relevant, good Lord, you got to win Crochet Day automatically and then split the rest of the games. If you could take 3 of 5 out of your rotation, you're a playoff team. And we have yet to be able to consistently do that. Terry, I'm letting you go. Why don't you say something?
Nothing changed here. We sucked coming into the series. So did the Atlanta Braves. They lost 6 out of 8. You had 3 hits today, literally 3 hits. You had Devers ripping a double. I think, who was the other one? Abraham Toro singled. Marcelo Meyer drew a walk. And then Trevor Story cleared the bases with what was almost a grand slam. Missed it by 3 or 4 inches, I'd say. That was the entire day. That was it. Nothing else happened. You're not going to win a lot of games with just 3 runs on the board, and that's all they could put up. And then when you look at the series, is Walker Buehler's stock higher or lower? Lower.
Lower.
Christian Campbell's
I don't
stock
know.
offensively, is it higher or lower? It's definitely lower.
Lower
And
for him. Yeah.
and apparently Abraham Toro's stock got so high, Campbell didn't go to first like they initially planned. Nothing real productive came out of this. You just had a really good start by Crochet, which we kind of expect. Maybe one good thing came out of this. Lucas Giolito pitched very well on Friday night. I will give him that. But nothing's changed here. This team is trash. You've got 3 games against Anaheim starting tomorrow. Their record doesn't look good on paper. They've been pretty hot lately. That series could go either way. And then you've got, I think, Yankees, Rays, and if we're upside down there, that's the season. This season will most likely be over by the end of June. And I didn't see anything this series that is pointing the trajectory upwards. I didn't see anything.
Let me. Okay, I gotta say a couple things. So first thing, Campbell. Yeah, I agree. I think his stock has dropped a little bit. Toro's stock, I think, is still the same. I'm not buying the smoke screen here. And then Walker Buehler had a bit of a clunker, like no doubt, but he went against the guy who you thought was going to win the NL Cy Young. Schwallenbach struck out 11 guys in what, 6 innings, 6 innings. Absolutely went off. And he started the day off with 92, 93, and then pulled 97, 98 out of the hat towards the end of the appearance. So I don't think 4 or 5 runs for Walker Buehler in one start, I think he's done that once or twice this year, is going to make his draft stock lower. Is your team better with Walker Buehler? Yes or no?
Theoretically, yes, but
the answer is yes, Terry.
He's been
your
a
team is better with
disappointment.
Walker.
He's still been a
The
disappointment.
answer is yes, Terry. He is a better. He makes your team better, even though Lucas Giolito didn't even go 5 innings. Lucas Giolito, to your point, did pitch well, and Giolito did, probably would have thrown another 10, 15 pitches and gotten out of the inning so that he could have had a chance to get the win. Our starters are not getting the chances to get the wins. The reason why I think this team is not, quote, trash, but not great is because you have starters that can't go 5 innings. Forget about the quality start of 6 innings, which drives me nuts. You're a K9 guy. You love strikeouts per 9 innings. I know that's your stat. Gets you all warm and fuzzy. Minus quality starts. If you can't give me quality starts, I can't give 2 craps. If you strike out 10 or you strike out 2, I don't care. If you can't throw 5 innings or 6 innings, you're not a good starter. I don't care. You strike out 10 in 4 2/3. Oh, you can strike out 10. Guess what? You burn the bullpen every single time you're here. That doesn't help us. Like, we need to start pitching to contact. Now, if you're Crochet, you can blow the doors off everybody and you're going to strike out a dozen. I'm not going to tell you what to do. No one can. He's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, not just the American League. He exponentially makes the Red Sox a better team. The problem is you can't have Crochet pitch 5 times a day or five games in a row. This team, to your point, had one really big hit, which almost was a grand slam by inches. Outside of that, you're totally right. Like, there are games where you're going to be able to survive and you'll get the win based on the fact of, you getting one hit because Crochet pitched. If anybody else pitched outside of Crochet, I can't say confidently that we would have won this game. But 3-run lead or 3 runs for Crochet should be more than enough to get the win. He's like a 1 or 2 earned run pitcher guy. That's it. He's that good.
I mean, the offense did enough. I get Terry's point, and look, you'd like to score across 4 or 5 innings every game. That's not the way baseball is.
Right.
They did enough early, and they won the game. Crochet's been fantastic, and even though he didn't get a bunch of run support, they gave it to him early, which is a nice touch. And the truth is if you can get to 3 or 4 runs in a Crochet start, you give the bullpen a little bit of breathing room and they win those games. Unfortunately, we don't score at all in typical Crochet starts, or he's leaving the game down 1-0, 2-1, or it's a tie game. And the early runs, at least in this Braves game, were enough. And it just goes to show you how good he really is. He didn't let off the gas pedal. He was great all day. Didn't fall behind a bunch of guys. There weren't, except for the jam in the 4th, there wasn't a lot of threatening offense by the Braves. And I know it was only a 3-1 game, but it felt like we really had this one going into the late innings. The issue you're going to run into moving forward is right before the game, they DL'd Slayton.
That
So
hurts.
that takes a key arm out of the 7th, 8th, 9 window. And that's going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on Weissert and
Right.
Chapman because Hendricks is down and he wasn't what I would consider a late innings arm anyways. And you're
Right.
really, really thin out there. So it brings us back to, the Crochet threw 112 pitches in this start
Right. A
versus the
career high, I
85.
believe.
Yeah,
Right. That was career high for him. 112.
I'm not sure on that, but it sounds about right because I know the White Sox really didn't let him go over 100 pitches. But my point being is that when you pulled him in the Mets series with 85 pitches, we all kind of forecasted what was going on. And I was on a podcast earlier this week where we were talking about the Giolito start and how they didn't let him get through 5, and the pressure was continuing to mount. And now we have Liam Hendricks down and we have Slayton down. They're starting to drop like flies out there, and it's a
Right.
really concerning problem if you're
Right.
one of the Red Sox fans holding out hope that this team's going to go on a run, because when you couple the fact that Cora doesn't put pressure late in starts on the starting pitching versus the pressure he puts on the bullpen almost right away in the 5th or 6th inning, and I said this on Friday, it's gonna catch up to us, and it
Right.
already is 2 days later.
Yeah. T, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah. Breslow. So we've had a flurry of moves. We can start with the bullpen. As you said, Slayton and Hendricks on the injured list. So now we've got Nick Birdie up, and we've got
Cool.
Luis Guerrero back up, who could not find the plate with a GPS last week. He was just all over the place, coughed up a game. And so the bullpen's not in good shape. I mean, who do you trust right now? You've got to roll this, obviously.
Bernardino, I think, is the arm that bumps down into the 7th slot. I know that's scary, but
It's so terrifying. I've said it so many times that
who
whenever
else would it be,
Bernardino's
Terry? Give me that look.
Nah, it was at Charlie I was giving that look to,
Oh,
actually.
okay. Never
Charlie
mind.
dude,
Charlie has
I
this
can't-
irrational hate for Brendan Bernardino.
I saw Brendan Bernardino twice blow leads. Once was a grand slam here in LA, bases loaded, Freddie Freeman tank. Just absolute tank job. Just doesn't have it. And when Bernardino has thrown 4 of his first 5 pitches for balls, he should be throwing past the 3rd batter. He doesn't have it. He's gonna walk the park. He's
One of the
not
issues
a-
with Bernardino is he gets a lot of inherited runners.
Exactly.
Terry, you and I talked, I think, actually last season on this. It was a topic, and I was in that recording. I remember it specifically. I was saying, can we give this guy a clean inning and give him a chance? Because you come in 1st and 2nd, 1 out, and he gives up a couple runs. You're looking at him, but you're not looking at the guy that put him in that spot. Or simultaneously, you're not looking at Alex Cora for again putting him in the position. And I remember the first half of last year, he was excellent against inherited runners. Excellent. But it's a numbers game. No one's excellent against inherited runners for a full season. You can't keep doing that to seemingly the same guy. And to me, giving a guy a clean inning creates an expectation from what he's walking into, his preparation in the bullpen, the time he's allowed to stretch and warm up and prepare for that 1 inning, knowing that 1 inning's his thing. And so they just, and it's again, that happened earlier in the week where they tried to stretch Whitlock, I believe. And he gets out there in the 2nd inning and it falls apart. I just give these guys clean innings when you can.
Well, the good doctor had mentioned at one point the Red Sox had played, I forget how many games. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up because I'm curious. But he had pitched in like 27 or 28 games, and the Red Sox had only played in 58. Well, let's see. At the time, was it 58 and he played in 27? Something like that, I think was the stat.
26 appearances in 58 games.
That's insane. That's a lot. That means you're coming out almost every other day. And granted, his
What
last
choice
three.
do you have when the starting pitching doesn't get through the fifth inning?
Thank you.
You got to find
Thank you.
4+ innings a night, and it's not tenable.
What do you think Brennan Bernardino's hits per 9 is?
This year,
Yeah,
Eight.
this year.
it's lower than it was last year. I know
It's-
that much. He's right.
Yeah,
What is
it's
it?
lower. Let me I just for comparison, I want to get Slayton's up real quick. It's staggeringly low. Let's put it that way. All right. So Justin Slayton this season has a wow, his is low too. So
But
I'll just
Bernardino comes in for a third of an inning. Slayton's not coming in for a third of an inning.
let's
Sometimes Bernardino, to your point, both of your points, Bernardino comes out, 2 are on, and there's 2 outs or 1 out. And he gets a double play ball, or he'll get the last out. That's probably 10 of his appearances this year. It feels like.
Yeah, but you still
Yeah.
have to get up for the moment. The pitch count's part of it, and that's the metric we all use as baseball fans. But you understand the stress on the athlete having to get his body ready to go, and it's not like those pitches aren't max effort. I mean, if you're pitching every day, I don't care if you're throwing 6 pitches, your body's still getting to the point of competing in a Major League Baseball game. There's wear and tear. It's not just pitches. Appearances matter, especially when they're stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
so
What are
this
their hits
is
per 9, Terry?
this is insane. I don't even know if I should be using this metric for the bullpen, I guess. Aroldis Chapman has a 5.9 hits per 9. Bernardino has a 0.4 hits per 9, and he has a whip of 0.88. That's why
Yeah, that
he
means he's
comes
allowing
in.
less than he allows less
That's
than 1 hit, a lot less than 1 hit per inning. So how many hits has he allowed? 15?
13 on the season. And so
Okay.
that's why he's coming in with inherited runners. Like he has to
No,
be that guy.
100%. No, I
So
don't. But why
yeah.
not then give that same guy a clean inning?
Well, you're at the point where you probably have to. I mean, Whitlock is okay for 1 inning. His first inning is generally always very good. The second inning, he doesn't know up from down. So, I think there's a lot of misuse there. I don't know much about Nick Birdie. I don't think he looked great yesterday. And then Guerrero's up and down. Guerrero's going to tease you, much like remember Darwin's and Hernandez would be like amazing, like every 4th start. And then you'd be like, oh, maybe he's figured it out. And then he'd walk the world. And that's what Guerrero does. So
if you have a reliever that comes out 5 appearances, no problem. And then the 6th appearance gets absolutely rocked. And then 5 appearances go by, we're good. The next, the very 6th appearance after that, rocked again. Is that acceptable? 1 every 6 appearances, you get your clock cleaned?
no.
That's Brandon Bernardino. That's Bernardino. Bernardino, when he comes out, he's going to get absolutely shelled every 5 or 6 appearances. Like that's pretty much what it felt like. Last year, go through the numbers. Go through the numbers of Brandon Bernardino. And here's the thing. If Bernardino is given a clean inning, who do you trust to come in to, handle damage when there's people on base? Chapman?
Well, if your
No.
guys, if you're doing your job, you shouldn't be having that many.
Right. If you're doing your job, but hypothetically, they're not doing their job because that is the 2025 Boston Red Sox. We're not doing our job.
You can't manage the bullpen expecting Weissert to blow it up. If you don't think Weissert's going to be effective a night, you shouldn't pitch him at all. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but you can't manage like, all right, well, we're gonna go Guerrero in the 6th instead of Bernardino because Weissert has the 7th, and I'm expecting him to have the bases loaded,
Okay.
and we're gonna go to Bernardino.
Fair.
That's not how you manage games. So my only point there is Bernardino can give you more quality outs, and it starts with allowing the starter when appropriate to finish their last inning. Like, for example, and I know this is a misnomer because he's so good, but Crochet in the 7th tonight. He's at his pitch. I mean, no one thought he was going to throw 112 tonight, and yet he's out there starting a batter with 108, 109 pitches. But yeah, he finishes the inning, giving the bullpen a reset in the 8th, and it just makes it managing it easier. If you don't think your starter can get through the 6th inning, don't have him start the inning.
Right.
Don't have a guy you
He's
think is gas saying, all right, go try to get this one last guy to start the sixth. And when it inevitably fails, now we're man on second, no outs, and you have to bring Bernardino or whoever in. I don't know. I mean,
right.
and look, this is probably setting Terry up with the way Cora's managed the bullpen all year, but it's been a problem. And
It has been.
the only time it really hasn't been is the Crochet starts, because you get consistency from him through the full extent of his outing.
Crochet also struck out the side in the 7th inning, which was insane. He got strikeouts 10, 11, and 12 in that
It
inning.
looked like he was
It
as
was it was
strong as he was all day in
dude,
that inning.
it
He
was
was
like the first
dominant.
inning, it felt like.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So I want to get to a Breslow quote
Oh boy.
from
This
yesterday.
should be fun. This should be fun. I know exactly what you're gonna say. Hit us.
This is his answer on Roman Anthony. Everybody's wondering, why isn't he coming up? And yesterday, to set this up further, we're getting some guy named Nick Eaton, who is a
There we
scrap
go.
heap guy in the outfield. And so they're doing, in other words, they're doing everything but bringing up Roman Anthony. And it's cute that Toro had a nice series, strung together a bunch of hits, did a little bit of damage. That's the worst thing that could have happened, because now Craig Breslow feels validated by that move. And that's why the plans got scrapped to move Campbell at first. And I'm not saying he even needs to play first anymore, but anyway, here's the quote. This is why Anthony isn't up yet, according to Breslow. Quote, "We need to be more mindful of the environment that Roman would be coming into and the pressure we'd be putting on a 21-year-old in the midst of a losing streak to come up and save the team. Roman's time is coming, and I don't think there's any question about that. So we have to figure out what is best for the organization and what's best for him." He's probably your third or fourth best bat in the lineup the second he gets called up. And you're just going to throw the season away by not having him up. It's maddening. And then the manager isn't doing a good job. And by the way, I didn't get to that quote, but the manager's job is safe according to Breslow. There's not that I didn't expect it would be, but it's just, this is a failure of leadership at every level. And it's just staring us in the face every series. And we're just drowning right now.
So I believe Sam Kennedy told Breslow what to say, because here's when you look at the statement on paper and don't apply the facts of the 25 Red Sox, you would say something like, that makes sense. You're putting the athlete first. You're putting the long-term health of the player by performance and all other measures in the forefront of the decision making. But you didn't do that with Campbell, and you didn't do that with Mayer. So either you think Roman Anthony is a future Hall of Famer and Mayer and Campbell aren't, or your quote, which on its face is fine, only applies to one of three main prospects you brought up this year. And not only did you start the season with Campbell, you have ferreted him around wherever you feel like dropping him, and he's not a plus defender anywhere. So in other words, you're putting extreme stress on a player that's not good defensively, and it's affected his offense. So it's just like anything else, and you highlighted it, Terry. The leadership of this team lies. They apply what could be a sound logic to one guy, but not the balance of the roster. It makes no sense.
For me, my issue is that this would have been a great opportunity for him to say, I have not done the best job in my role. All you have to do is say, I have not been that great this year. I have to own it and say, I have not gotten what I wanted so far, as opposed to placing the blame on the players. It's just, to me, you can only blame the Red Sox for so much. What was your contingency plan when Casas went out? You didn't have one. What's your backup if you lose Walker Buehler or Lucas Giolito for an extended period of time? You don't have one. What happens if Alex Bregman gets injured and he's out for a prolonged period of time? You have no contingency plan. You have nothing. Oh yeah, Bregman is out and Devers isn't back at third. Where is your leadership, Craig? Where is you wearing the pants? Right now, the pants are in someone else's drawer, and you're just trying to figure out who's wearing them. That's kind of how it feels, and kind of how it looks like. Like you're just there. You're just a body, and it's frustrating beyond all recognition. Like you have the brass show up to try to smooth things over. Great. For what? There's still issues. There are still problems. Roman Anthony is not here. The excuses as to why he's not here, I don't care. Bring him up. If he's not doing great for whatever reason, send him back down. Shut everyone up instead of seeing this kid rake in AAA, just wasting time. There is absolutely no point. And if you're going to say, "Oh, well, he has X amount of strikeouts and this number of at bats, and the ratio is too high," who cares? You have players that are either injured, not performing. Just give them a shot. Give somebody else a day off. Are we going to wait for another injury? Like Marcelo Meyer only came up because Bregman got injured. Otherwise, Meyer would still be a AAA. So who has to get injured now in order for Anthony to get called up? Because Eaton's coming. Who has to get injured? Devers? If Devers gets injured, you bring up Anthony, your season's completely toast as opposed to probably toast. You know, this is the equivalent to trying to figure out who's calling this. Like, I don't know who's calling the shots. I really don't know how anyone can see this team being a playoff team right now because there's so much stuff going wrong. I don't think anyone knows what the hell's going on. I don't even think the front office knows who's running the show.
Roman Anthony would be up right now if he signed an extension in spring training. And apparently he wasn't interested in a Christian Campbell type deal. And he's the number one prospect in all of baseball. He's worth it's hard to really know what he's worth. He could get a Jackson Chourio deal, which would be 90 million guaranteed with options. That's probably the low end, in my opinion. Or it could be upwards. He could get almost what Wander Franco got. It could be that, and that's the extreme other end, but it's probably somewhere in between. And
right.
He didn't.
Who holds the cards, Terry?
The Red Sox do, obviously, because
currently, right?
He's not. He's not up.
Years. Right.
But you can't tell me that Christian Campbell. It's better to have him on the big league roster right now, hitting like a $157 over the last couple weeks, versus Roman Anthony, who's killing it. Like so far, Myers had a couple of Ofer type games and scuffled a little bit. Yeah, it is. Right. But in terms of poise and body language, I like Meyer right now way better than I like Campbell. And I think Anthony could be the most emotionally equipped to come up and handle Boston and the circus act that is currently underway and has been underway basically all season.
Right. If Anthony does not sign that contract, you don't think he's coming up at all in 2025?
I was going to ask that question. I mean, are they punishing him? Is this punishment for not doing it?
So this is what happens then. Once I'm sorry, Jeremy, really quickly. I'm just going to get this out. Once he's up, he's going to blow through renewable years. He'll go through arbitration. And when it comes to offering him a contract, Roman Anthony is just going to go. And that's it. You lost Roman Anthony. You're going to have to trade him at the end of his arbitration years or arbitration years. He will not sign a long-term deal because he wants to know how much he can get. He feels he should be getting a Jackson Chourio or a Wander Franco type deal. Are the Red Sox like, here's the thing. If the Red Sox don't want to do it, who holds the cards right now? I mean, for the first couple of years, yeah, the Red Sox do. But after that, it is all Anthony for the rest of his career. So, yeah, Jeremy, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
To be honest with you, I was listening to what you were saying, and I forgot the question Terry posed.
I think
is he being punished?
I think that they're holding the contract over him, and I wouldn't be surprised that they're talking money, and if they come to an agreement, he'll be called up. I don't rule that out. That's the way this organization is. It's an asset for John Henry's portfolio, and what's best is getting Roman Anthony on a team-friendly deal, and if they do, they'll call him up, and if not, they'll continue to use it as a lever to say, well, we're going to extend you. You know, we don't even have to say it. The effect of not being with the big league club is, which is your fully free agent years are just being extended down the line towards your 30th birthday. So look, he's super young. He's 21 and he's ready to be a pro. He's gonna make a ton of money regardless of what they do. But the thing that's happened here is, even if they want to hold that lever in place as long as possible, the dam's got to break, because their performance at the big league club has been obviously not great. The roster's not well constructed right now with the injuries, and if you want to continue to project like you're trying to fight to get back into this thing, it's the only thing you can do that's left outside of going outside the organization and adding talent from another team, which they don't show a willingness to do even at the deadline. Like, they may bring in some scrap heap guy that just got DFA'd, or, we'll take your trash for our trash type deal, but they're not going to go be aggressive early in the market they're just not going to do it. So there's nothing left here. And so that's why I mean the dam's going to break. We got to do something. We got this guy in AAA that's going to be the AAA MVP. Whether it's by injury or whatever else circumstance, complete lack of performance, he's going to be up, and it's going to be soon. I just don't think they can hold off that much farther. And by the way, bringing up, and I don't even know the guy's name, is absolutely absurd. It's absolutely absurd. It's ridiculous. I can't believe Nick Eaton. I can't believe that and maybe it's because it's the weekend. I don't know. But I can't believe that's not getting more vitriol from the fan base. And so what they bring up Toro, who's really, no long-term future, and he's been actually pretty consistent. And so maybe they can think they can strike lightning in a bottle more than once here. It's not going to happen. I mean, we won this game, and it's just now I'm going right back to complete negativity, and I don't want to do that.
It's Nate Eaton. I didn't know his name either. So here's his career stats. So he's played 2 years with the Royals, 22 and 23. So he missed all of last year, presumably because he sucked. Maybe he was hurt. I don't know. I'm just going to assume he sucked. And hitting 201 with a 266. How many career home runs has this guy hit?
1.
Exactly.
0?
Exactly. In 72 games, he's hit 1 home run. He had an OPS plus in 2023 of -43. I didn't even know that was possible. Only 53 at bats, but the dude's trash.
Well, 4 hits.
That's the guy Craig Breslow wants over Roman Anthony. That's just insane.
Again, not wearing the pants, doesn't know who's wearing them. That's what it looks like, because this decision makes no sense. No disrespect to Toro. I mean, Toro's done a serviceable job so far in Boston. Couple home runs, more than I thought he'd hit so far. Couple extra runs knocked in. Decent defense, not the best. But this one, sorry, I can't make an excuse for it. I can't fathom what's going through their brain.
And just one last time, the opening of Breslow's statement, we need to be mindful of the environment that Roman would be coming into. If I was a beat writer, I would have been like, what's the environment, Craig? I mean, what kind of environment is going on there? And I can't imagine that Alex Cora is like pleased with getting Toro instead of initially Meyer, and getting Eaton instead of Anthony. It's just, if I'm Alex Cora, I'm sick of losing, and I'm sick of this front office not giving me what I need. And it's just happening all over again. And I mean, sometimes I'm further down on Cora than I am Breslow, but for much of the past week, I've been further down on Breslow. It's just, I don't know. Well, I had this team going to the World Series. Who's the dummy?
I mean, I had them going to the World Series. I thought this team, I mean, again, assuming no major injuries, we're able to maybe stock up and perhaps get some extra pieces during the course of the season. I felt that there's a really good chance. And now, I mean, there's rumors and speculations about teams possibly inquiring about Aroldis Chapman in a month, not even. Like that sucks. If that happens and we lose Chapman, it's going to be brutal. But let's move into the pitching matchup that we have for tomorrow against Los Angeles. We've got Richard Fitts against Tyler Anderson. Fitts in his last appearance, only 3 innings, just stretching him out against Tyler Anderson, who has actually not too bad. 6 innings, 1 earned run on 5 hits, 3 strikeouts against the Yankees. That's not a bad team, but odd. And his appearance before that, 5 runs in 4 2/3, 6 strikeouts against the Athletics. I don't even think we can call them the Oakland Athletics. I think it's just Athletics now. What do you guys think? Do you think Fitz can do it game 1?
No.
I'm not worried about Fitz and the limited availability that he's going to have. I would think max 75 pitches, which should be good for if he's
4 or 5 innings.
efficient. 4 innings.
Yeah.
But then we go back to what we were discussing earlier, which is thank God Crochet pitched the 7 today, and so you didn't really need that much of the bullpen. But who's available to cover the last 5 innings? I wouldn't be surprised to have Fitz leave this game up and the Sox lose.
Terry.
They're going to probably have to make a roster move to get a bulk guy in there. I don't see Chapman's not going to be available theoretically because they don't like using him 2 days in a row. You'll have Whitlock available for 1 good inning and 1 trash inning. I mean, and the crazy thing is we're basically trying to map this out, assuming the Red Sox are only going to put up 2 or 3 runs, and that's what you're going to have to protect the whole game. So I mean, we just need to hit, and we're going to lose the game though. That's my pick.
Jeremy, you still think we're going to lose?
Yeah, I mean, they're still not doing things. They're still not playing clean defense. Some stuff's being masked because we're winning the game, but there's still too many of the same mistakes. If it wasn't for Sori's swing in the first, we would have lost that game 1-0. There's no consistency. They're relying on way too many bats that aren't consistent production. We don't know who's going to hit cleanup. Probably Navarez. I love the player, but I mean, it just the Angels are a little bit better than they've been in the past. Or at least they're playing competitive.
And without
baseball.
Ohtani. Yeah.
Without Ohtani.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's more about the Red Sox than it is about the opponent at this point. If they're not going to play consistent defense and find runs in 3 or so innings, they're not going to win the game.
So in 7 of the last games for the Angels, they've actually lost. So that's one thing. And
they've lost 7 in a row.
They've lost 7 of 8. They lost 5 in a row. They won 1 against Cleveland, and they lost 2 more. They have the same syndrome as the Red Sox. They can't score more than 2 runs in a game. So in 2 of those last 9 games, did they score more than 3 runs? They lost all games where they scored less than 4. They won 4-1. They lost 7-5, and everything else was 2 or less. Before that, though, they won 8 in a row, including a sweep of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Athletics. So big surprise there. So I think probably we're going to lose 2. This is probably where they're going to flip it around. Until the Red Sox can consistently win, I'm not going to say 1 series is enough. So I think I'm with you guys. I think it's going to be another L.
I mean, they better if they're going to find their footing, they better do it against this team because in comes the Yankees and things are going to snowball if you don't win this Angel series.
Agreed. Cool. Terry, anything else?
Nothing.
That is going to do it for your Bastards